heavy. It falls easily. Hi, I'm Darren C. Demaree, and here today we're going to talk about my new book, Not for Art Nor Prayer. The next section of this book is called Wednesday Mornings. And again, I was trying to write short poems, sort of uplifting, happy things in the middle of the week sometimes when the week itself gets its hardest. So I wrote a sequence called Wednesday Mornings, and they're numbered like the adoration poems. So this is Wednesday morning number 20. I want the crumbling meat of stars to roll my hands in, show you hope exists. So they're all very short, but they worked for me on sort of a challenge level of how do you find even smaller, shorter sort of bursts of desire, happiness, sort of the foundation to find enthusiasm for whatever week that you're going through, which on a week by week basis is sometimes easier than others. This is Wednesday morning number 152. Hours before lunch, and my beard is stained by milkshake. I have only spent fireworks today. So the last section of the book is Emily as a Mango Hitting the Ground, which is the title of one of the poems in there. Just like in the first book, As We Refer to Our Bodies, there's a section of Emily poems in here. And I've been writing the Emily poems for 10 years now, since before we got married. And I've got a collection of just them called Emily as the Forest Wants the Fire, that I'm just now starting to show to presses and things like that. So high hopes for that. I've been writing them for 10 years, and some of the poems from this book made it into the overall sort of 10-year collection of them. But these Emily poems have taken on sort of a life of their own, and I've written probably over 1,200 of them at this point. And I'll continue to. Hopefully, there'll be a 10-year collection, 20-year collection. We'll see. But this is Emily as Luminance Deflected. The first letter that Magnificence wrote was in deference to the Lord. The second letter that Magnificence wrote was about a tide of angels overwhelming the shores, confronting the sun. The third letter was a confession that Magnificence believed only in the heat of other magnificence, and the army of heavens, general and company, seemed to only carry individuals on the sand, one at a time, driving them mad with the thought that they might not be alone. The fourth letter Magnificence wrote was more of a song that buried the burden of proof inside of her glorious, malleable intention to be weak beauty, but beauty all the same. So finding obviously the challenge in all these Emily poems and sort of trying to find new angles on love poetry, and twisting and playing with the tether of Emily as different things, and how do you turn love poems sort of on their head or on the side? How do you find entry points and exit points that are in some way unique to what is obviously a history, the tradition of love poetry is great. So how do you find a new way to do it, and not be homage and not be repeatable and not be something that everyone's sort of played out and done over and over and over again, which I don't think is the case with love poetry in general, but I think the genre sort of leans that way. It's heavy. It falls easily. So finding different entry and exit points, finding this sort of formula with the Emily as something that obviously she's not, or an interpretation of something she is. How do I get the poem there, and how do I sort of spin it out into the wind where it's gonna do something for the reader and something for me when I'm doing it, where it can accomplish something more than what a general love poem might And so that's the challenge for me and why it's something I keep doing. So one of my favorites in here is a poem called "Emily as the sun is so bright the field has no context for the cold." And this is something that happens if you live in Ohio or in one of the northern sort of states, where it'll be a beautiful winter morning and the sun will be out and it'll shine through your window and sort of warms up the house a little bit, but the sun is completely, in terms of heat, not doing anything outside. And you'll walk out of your house, or in this poem, a field, and it's so damn cold that it doesn't matter that it's sunny. And so this was sort of playing off of that. There is a distance from us to the cut bank, but where the warmth or absence of the warmth never varies, never layers jealousy between the land, the man, the woman he loves who stares at the sun without regard for her eyesight, what that narrowing black can mean. We are dressed for a warmer world. We believe that bright sun meant something. Legs over the erosion of the field, we have sat here all morning, hoping more land would develop so we could lay down in the light. But that is not what happens here. No matter what the scene might look like from Route 36, we are not moving because we are waiting, not because we are frozen or afraid we will fall into the shallow water beneath us. We are waiting for eyes that can decipher all of the things the steam pouring out of our mouths might mean. Good money down, we have nothing to say about Ohio, as we knew this might happen, that the small strips of land might one day mean something more to us because of the distance between each other, our warm bodies. This is Emily as a mango hitting the ground. If this were an orchard, how lovely it would be if Emily fell from a tree as the mangoes fall, roll to the will of the roots gradient. In Ohio, though, we don't grow any mango, and such a fall bruises deeply what we had first hoped would be a light pat from the dirt. Origin of my fruit, I am sorry. I did my best to imagine a way for you to be unscathed or cradled in good context. I simply failed to catch you. But I appreciate you folks who find the video spending this time with me. Thank you.